Attempt to kill a gang member inside a magistrate's court in Johannesburg. A visual display of their violence and blatant disregard of the law. And no one is exempt. Children are shot in schools and drugs openly traded in the streets. So why are we losing this battle? And what can we learn from Chicago, which has turned its gang situation around? Haroon Ori, PAGAD's national coordinator, is in our Cape Town studio, and hopefully he'll help get us some answers. It's very good to have you with us. When you saw what happened in that Johannesburg magistrate's court, knowing the way gangs work, what do you think played out there?
Good evening, thank you. I think what we've seen there is nothing new to Cape Town and South Africa in its whole. We've seen this type of behavior throughout the courts in Cape Town. We've recently seen, I think in 2014, 2015, where there was a bomb scare in a court in Mitchell's Plain, and just outside the courtrooms there was gang violence. This type of lawlessness by gangsters and drug dealers is well known throughout the Cape. And this is, it's a worrying factor for the people on the streets. And we need to question authorities regarding this. I mean, there's several cases being reported of these type of incidents. The question is, how much tolerance does the community have, and how much are we going to still take in regards to this type of lawlessness that's happening in our country?
But it really is a blatant disregard for our security services, isn't it? I mean, the fact that they can do whatever they want, wherever they want, and whenever they want, and it seems that nobody's able to stop them.
Yes, I mean, we've seen, in PAGAD trials in previous years, we've seen police coming out in their numbers, blocking off streets way before the court cases. We've seen the army being deployed on PAGAD members and PAGAD court cases through the years. We're asking why is this lawlessness being allowed by gangsters and drug dealers? This is a clear indication of once again, a clear indication of corruption within the authority.
I guess corruption and other than being complicit, there must be a fear factor as well.
Definitely. I mean, we found just over a year ago, the individuals that were caught with over 3,000 firearms. Those very culprits are roaming the streets of Cape Town today. They've been released on bail. And then we find many other well-known drug dealers and gangsters in our streets that were arrested for illegal possession of firearms. Those very people are still roaming the streets. The question is, why are people and the authority not taking action? When people protest, when people rise up on the streets, when people want to defend themselves in this country, the long arm of the law is then extended and the law is then implemented to its full extent. But when it comes to gangsterism and drug dealers and gangsters themselves, we find that there is a reluctancy from the authorities to respond in terms of defending the innocent people in our streets.
And Haroon, I mean, you really hear that the initiation ceremonies are getting a lot more brutal, the sort of things that gang members or future gang members need to do in order to be accepted. I mean, it's pretty horrific. I heard a horrible story in Cape Town of a guy who was surfing and he was bundled into the back of the car, and then eventually they set the car on fire. I mean, when you start off with that sort of level of violence, you don't stand much of a chance, do you?
No, I mean, we've seen different types of gang initiations in this country, and it becomes a worrying factor for society and where we're heading for. What type of society are we looking at in the next few years? We've made and we've started this awareness campaign of PAGAD about 20 years ago, where we highlighted these issues and the corruption within the authorities, and how does gangs operate and how do they start the initiation program. Nobody listened. Today we're sitting in this very same seat and we need to explain and educate society. Somebody needs to take responsibility for this, and it's clearly that no political party really and no authority wants to take responsibility for this.
And adding to this worry is the fact that they're getting younger and younger. I mean, there have been so many incidences at school where you hear of gang members going in and taking pot shots or stabbing people that they are against.
Yeah, we find, I mean, even on primary school, we have incidences in the Cape Flats where we find youth as young as 7, 8 years old. They're starting to use drugs, and they're obviously trafficking with the drug trade in our primary schools. We had these incidences where schools called the pagan movement in to address these issues. And then also we find that, you know, the age, and it is becoming worrying. And we ask the question to those in authority that, you know, a police minister upon police minister is saying that they're going to bring change. A political party after political party is saying that they want to bring change. But we haven't seen anything in the past 20 years. The problem has been escalating.
And the problem is you can't really, excuse me, jumping in, bring change from the top, can you? I mean, it's something that really needs to be addressed at grassroots level.
Well, if people allow and authorities allow people to change the problem from grassroots levels, I think people are willing to make that change. We as a movement, we're willing to work with those on grassroots level to make the change. However, authority is always being, you know, a problem when trying to engage authorities on these levels, on grassroots levels, it becomes problematic. So to us, it's a clear indication, do they really want to make change, or is it just, you know, words that are being used to gain power and authority to say that they want change?
Okay, so other than the authorities, I mean, how do we turn this around? What needs to be done immediately?
What we see as a pagan movement, what needs to happen is we need to go back into our schools. We need to go back into society. We need to mobilize people. We need to educate people. We need to educate society. There's a lot of contributing factors. Poverty is one of the main issues. People are suffering. People don't have anything to survive. The country is suffering. The poor is suffering in this country. We need to go back to those people, and we need to reassure them that there is hope. We need to empower them. We need to tell them there's alternatives. We need to tell people that we can make a change, irrespective of how difficult and the situation looks at times and how bleak it looks. We say that we can make a change if people only but give us a chance to engage with the people, to engage with authorities on grassroots levels. We feel as a united force against gangsterism and drugs, we can unite. We've seen recently in Sea Point, in the Cape Flats, where a gunman walked into the classroom and he robbed students and teachers of their possessions. These type of things, we need to go into these schools. We need to empower. We had school programs. We do have school programs wherein we can establish a safer school environment, wherein teachers will come to school to teach and students will then come to school to learn. This is unfortunately not the case, and we're saying we need to create that environment for our society out there.
Okay, Haroon Ori, very good to talk to you. Thank you.